Hello and welcome back to your South King County real estate update. My name is Sarah Eggleston with Stone Egg Realty at Berkshire Hathaway, and I am back with your local real estate update for the month. I'll go ahead and jump right on into it. So it is November 2025, and this is your South King County real estate update. We'll have new classes announced soon. We're kind of trying to nail down the date still, but I am excited to have some new classes coming up. It'll most likely be January will be the next classes. So stay tuned for that information. It's going to be some good stuff. Really excited about those classes. I do have my fall buyer and seller guides available, as well as the first time home buyer guide. So if you would like one of these, if you are thinking about making a move either in the next couple months or in 2026, make sure to reach out and get your copy. And into the news, Seattle area home buyers retreat as economic woes pile up. So Seattle has been a little bit sluggish on its housing market. For pending and closed sales in King County, we were down 10.8% and 8.2% respectively. The economic uncertainty continues to curb buyer appetite, especially amid the government shutdown. This article was from earlier in the month because this is our October recap article. So the shutdown was still going on. It did end on the 12th of this month, but at the time of publication for this article, it was still ongoing. As economic concerns snowball, people are putting off what could be the biggest investment of their life until things feel more certain. Aside from the government shutdown, the local job scene has been a little tumultuous. Early last month, Starbucks laid off almost 1,000 primary corporate workers in Seattle and Kent. And then Amazon laid off 14,000 workers, 2,200 of them in Seattle and Bellevue. Amazon says cuts could continue into 2026. So we are seeing a huge pullback on employment, lots of jobs being lost. And with less competition, remaining buyers had time to browse, leaving homes lingering on the market. October saw 7.8% more listings and 33% more active listings from a year ago. So things are taking a little bit longer to sell, and yet prices are still continuing to rise in some areas. This is a very area specific thing. Median sale price of single family homes rose 3.9% in King County from a year ago to $997,000, but dropped in Snohomish County and Pierce County. Kitsap did have the largest increase at 8.8%. So this is just showing that home price activity on the graph. From a year ago in Snohomish County, they are down, but up from last month. This upward tick is not necessarily something we'd expect to see this time of year, but with the reduction in mortgage rates, it did have some buyers re-enter the market and pursue purchases. Condos are having an especially rough time though. While median sales price for condos in Snohomish and Pierce County rose, King County is struggling. The median sale price for a condo in King County was $550,000, down 2% from October of last year. And those people that bought condos within the last 5 years that need to sell now, they are making hardly any profit at all, if any. There's been a few more short sales because prices have ticked down just a little bit, especially in the condo market. And that's why we consider real estate a long-term investment. If they could hold on to it and wait for values to go back up, then they wouldn't be underwater. But if people have to move, that bought it within the last few years, especially condos, it's not exactly a big money-making venture. Slower sales and more listings lingering have contributed to the Seattle area's lowest home turnover rate in possibly decades. It also means that remaining sellers have to battle for attention, especially in the crammed condo market. So just note that turnover rate, because we'll come back to that in just a second. This is the chart for the October median price of home and condo sales in King County. You can see we're up a little bit in some areas and down a little bit in others. Same for condos, up in some and down in others. But the condo market is a lot tighter margins on the upside, especially in Southwest and Southeast King here. We have had a huge reduction in condo prices. Well, not huge, a few percentage points, but normally we'd expect things to go up over time, and they will. But the number of home and condo sales For single family homes, we saw fewer homes sell in October of this year than we did in October of last year. And mostly the same for condos. East Side and Southeast King did see more condo sales than 1 year ago. But like I said, this is very area specific. And back to that turnover rate. So this is heading to national numbers. Only 28 out of every 1,000 homes have changed hands in 2025, the lowest turnover rate in at least 30 years for national. Homes are turning over at historically low rates because of affordability challenges, which have kept many buyers on the sidelines. Sellers are unwilling to give up their low mortgage rates. So that's kind of the lock-in effect that we've been talking about for a while. And the economic uncertainty, which has made buyers cautious. Looking at major cities across the nation, Seattle has come down 1.1% in price, but it is kind of right in the middle. We haven't experienced a huge increase or a huge decrease in prices like some other areas. I mean, Tampa has just tanked, and Cleveland, Ohio has gotten a lot of equity. The people that bought a year ago have gotten a lot of equity in their homes. But we're kind of in the middle here, and price cuts are happening. So the homes that are listed in Washington State, 22% of listings that go live reduced their price in October. So almost a quarter of the homes that are listed are just sitting on the market and then having to make that price reduction to make the home attractive to buyers and get the buyer traffic back through there. And that brings us to our hyperlocal breakdown. For new listings, as seasonally expected, we are having fewer new listings come on the market here than earlier this year. We're heading into that late fall, winter season where we do see fewer homes come to the market. But we're actually up in Kent. There's 8% more new listings in Kent, but the other three areas here have decreased from a year ago. Homes for sale, so this is new listings plus the homes that have been sitting on the market for a while, we are up all across the board. You can see this is the homes sitting. We're up 24% in Renton, 22 in Kent. It's big jumps from 1 year ago as far as the amount of inventory that is available right now. Pending sales in Kent and Renton are down from 1 year ago, but up in Auburn and Federal Way. And median days on market, Kent up 116% from a year ago. So again, this is all very area specific, but we're sitting at between 19 and 32 days on market, which is way slower than it was a few years ago. But this is technically a seller's market still, but it's not as extreme. So buyers have a lot more to pick from. They can be a lot pickier, maybe get some contingencies accepted that may not have been accepted in those contracts a few years ago. Median sales price slightly down across the board. Auburn's flat, but the rest are slightly down from a year ago, but have ticked up since last month in Auburn and Renton, and slightly in Kent. And that brings us to mortgage rates. Last time we met, the weekly average mortgage rate was at 6.3%, and the daily was at 6.32. So if we bring it to today, the weekly average is 6.26%, which is the third straight increase, but we're still kind of in the same range that we were before. 3 weeks ago, the average rate was 6.17, the lowest level in more than a year. Mortgage rates are influenced by several factors, from the Federal Reserve's interest rate policy decisions to bond market investors' expectations for the economy and inflation. They generally follow the trajectory of the 10-year Treasury yield, which lenders use as a guide for pricing home loans. Mortgage rates began declining this past summer ahead of the Federal Reserve's decision in September to cut its main interest rate for the first time in a year amid signs the labor market was slowing. The Fed lowered its key interest rate again last month, although Powell cautioned that further cuts weren't guaranteed. Recent forecasts by economists at the National Association of Realtors and First American call for the average rate on a 30-year mortgage to drop to around 6% next year. And for today's interest rate, we're at 6.34. So looking at that over time, we have come down significantly over the course of the year. It's been volatile, but overall, we have been ticking down. We did hit 7.25 back in January and have generally come down since then. A further reduction in the interest rate policy at the December meeting is not a foregone conclusion. Far from it. There were strongly different views today, and the takeaway from that is that we haven't made a decision about December. And that's Jerome Powell, the chair of the Federal Reserve, after they had their meeting recently. This is the deputy chief economist at First American. After a prolonged slump, existing home market is showing signs of recovery. So let's talk about that. 3 reasons the housing market is on the road to recovery. Mortgage rates have been decreasing for most of the year and are lower than they've been in the last couple of years. As the lock-in effect eases, more homeowners are selling and the inventory is rising back to normal levels. And lower rates and more homes to choose from are leading more buyers into the market. So looking at that, we see the mortgage rates have trended down over the year pretty significantly. Monthly mortgage payments are trending down because of those rate decreases that we've seen throughout the year. This is based on national numbers. This is for the median home price versus the mortgage cost. In May, we were at $2,860 for the average monthly mortgage payment. Now we have knocked a little over $300 off of that, and we are down to $2,530 in October. Wages have been climbing at a faster pace. So we had this dip here for COVID, and then we have been climbing at a faster pace than the average trend line. House buying power in September, the amount of home one can afford based on the median household income and prevailing 30-year fixed mortgage rate, reached its highest level since early 2022. So affordability is becoming more attainable. More people can afford homes now than they could at the beginning of the year. And the lock-in effect is weakening. So the green is people with mortgages that are below 3%, and the red is above 6%. So the amount of people that have a rate above 6% is increasing. So a lot of this is due to people that have purchased within the past few years. But overall, we are seeing an increase in people that have a rate above 6%, which means that there will be less of that lock-in effect. Fewer of the homes are stuck there because they can't leave their low mortgage rate. More homeowners are deciding it's worth moving, even if it means giving up a lower mortgage rate. Life doesn't stand still. People get new jobs, grow their families, downsize after retirement, or simply want to live in a different neighborhood. Those needs are starting to outweigh the financial benefit of clinging to a rock bottom mortgage rate. And that is the head of economics research at Redfin. And inventory is continuing to grow. So pre-pandemic here, active listings nationally, we're a little above 1 million homes for sale. This is our pre-pandemic norm. And we just hit 1 million homes on the market for 2025. So you can see this inventory is steadily increasing back to pre-pandemic norms. Next year, home sales are expected to rise, and we've been growing since 2024 on the number of home sales across our nation. 2026 home price forecasts, kind of all over the board here. What'll actually happen is probably somewhere in the middle because we have 4% coming from NAR, the National Association of Realtors, and Master Builders Association is at negative 0.3. So no one is projecting a huge drop in prices over the next year. But the average of this is 1.7 home price increase over the course of next year. And one last reminder, those fall buyer and seller guides are available. If you would like your first time home buyer guide, I have that as well. So much good information in these. If you are thinking about making a move in the near future, please reach out. I would love to get one of these to you. And again, stay tuned for those upcoming classes. Those will be announced pretty soon. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My phone number and email address are on the screen there. I would love to have a conversation with you about the market in your area or an area you're interested in moving to. Talk about loan ideas, as how can we make your dreams come true? That is what I would like to help you with. So reach out. I would love to have that conversation with you. Thank you so much for joining me for your South King County real estate update. I know it was kind of a quick one today. And if you have any questions, if I glazed over anything that you have questions about, please reach out. I would love to chat. Thank you so much for joining me. And I will be back with your local update next month. And in December, there's actually two updates. So I'll do the normal monthly update and then our year-end recap 2026 predictions episode. So don't miss that one. It's my favorite of the year is to do the predictions episode and then go back at the end of the next year and watch it and see what actually happened. So I look forward to seeing you next month. Have a fantastic Thanksgiving, and I'll see you soon.